Welcome back to ZBTV. On this episode of Truckin' It, we're going to be talking about sleeper berth setup, the basics, the essentials, what you need to have. But if you want to talk about truck bed camping or the Sony Alpha 1, go check out my other show, Talk Zach, where I discuss why I don't like that camera and why I slept in a truck bed last night. Okay, so I'm in my sleeper berth here in a Freightliner Cascadia, and on this episode of Truckin' It, I want to talk with y'all about sleeper berth setup. Just what y'all need to have a comfortable night's sleep in the bed of a sleeper. This is especially important for team operators. Now, normally I run team, but tonight I'm running solo. And it's also just a good refresher for those of y'all who don't have or are planning to get into or planning to get some supplies to upgrade your sleeper berth experience. Now, some of y'all have TVs, game consoles, computers, whatever in the sleeper. I've decided it's best for me to live the simple life, but let's get started anyway, just to tell you what you need. Okay, so let's start off with the basics and go from there. In this cabinet right here that I'm opening up, you can see there's a backpack, a tool bag, a small pouch with some masks in it, and in the door there's some extra bedding. I'll get to the extra bedding in a minute since it is required by law in some places. And it's basically to be used as a tourniquet or perhaps even as a body bag if you're the first on the scene to an incident that involves a fatality or serious injury, something like that. So always have an extra white fitted sheet on board, just in case. And you can also use a white standard sheet if you don't have a fitted sheet, but it's got to be one of those two, and it's got to be white. In my red backpack, I have a first aid kit, as well as some extra supplies, and in that big gray bag underneath it, it's the same thing, extra supplies and extra tools. In my mask pouch, in addition to my all those cloth face masks that everybody now has to wear at the truck stop, I've got some little green cans of Grind's coffee pouches. They're just extras that I keep on board, and it's just a nice thing when you need to pick me up in the morning or any time. Now, of course, something straight out of an airliner. This closet has a built-in tray table. Kind of like for food prep or for other means. Now, this lower cabinet, I've got some extra odds and ends in there, some tools, and I also have my CPAP machine, though usually I have my camera bag in there. I'll show you the camera bag in a minute. Okay, as I turn this, there's the camera bag. I'm not going to tell you all which camera I'm bringing along, but let's just say it's my newest one. I've got some Flonase and some nasal spray and a little card holder there. In the drawer, we keep extra odds and ends like phone chargers, keys, etc. And then underneath this drawer, on this little nightstand, we have a refrigerator that came with the truck. And attached to the fridge, I don't think you can see it very well, but I'll turn it on just to show you. We do have a power inverter on our trucks. Up overhead, there's the cabinet that you use to secure your microwave if you use one. If you don't have one, which I choose not to because I've got a different way of cooking in the truck. Many of y'all have, and some of y'all have not yet found the link to Hot Logic Mini. I will give you a link to that in the description below. And of course, there's another one of those airplane-inspired overhead bins, which usually what I keep in those, and what my co-driver when I'm running team does as well, is we keep our clothing duffels in those because they are literally overhead bins from an airplane. Believe it or not, the new Freightliner Cascadia uses bins and closets designed by the same company that designed the bins and closets for the Airbus 320 and the Boeing 737. Ain't that something? On the older Cascadias, they were designed differently, and your closet space will vary based off your truck model. On the bunk itself, always check to make sure the bunk restraint's in good condition. If it's frayed or if it's torn, it needs replaced. For the mattress, you want a good firm mattress, and you also want, if you're running team, mattress padding, preferably memory foam. And I'll give you a link down to that in the description below as well. So, now that we've reached the end of Sleeper Berth setup, make sure that you've got all the supplies you need. Bedding, first aid kit, white sheet, and anything that you need on the road. In addition to that, if you got the fridge, like I've got in here, you should definitely carry some extra food and drinks. And just have a few extra items for you to do. For you to carry on for things to do, for example. Or if you have a medical need. Or if you have needs for certain exercise equipment, for example, always have that on board with you. One last thing. Under your bunk, especially on the driver's side, there's going to be tools and safety equipment. And if it's not there, you need to check with your motor carrier or the company that sold you the truck to make sure that you've got the necessary safety equipment installed, and if you don't, you need to get it. That means fire extinguisher, reflective triangles, and extra supplies that you need, such as a fifth wheel puller and basic hand tools like the ones I keep in the closet. Extra. That's why these compartments exist. They're not just for baggage. Which, by the way, is another thing you can keep on there along with your cleaning supplies. One thing I would recommend a lot of you new drivers get, and because you might see the dirt on my floor, especially if you're a clean freak, go get yourself a dust buster before you get on board these trucks. A basic dust buster costs around $50 and is much more powerful than the vacuums that are offered at the truck stops. So, definitely have one. Especially if it's the car model, which has a special brush that you can use for cleaning truck floors, vehicle floor mats, etc. And I'll be running it while I'm on my break later on this morning. Okay, so we're getting near the end of this. Let me know down in the comments below what you would bring along for the ride. I know some of y'all in some of the stuff I follow on Facebook set up Xboxes, TVs, etc. Of course, I'm not doing that because I do change trucks every now and then. But until next time, let's make your best trip your next trip. Keep learning, keep thinking, keep on trucking. Bye for now.